One of the most important events in Greek mythology is the conflict between the Titans and the Olympians. It influenced how the ancient Greeks lived and produced a wealth of engrossing tales that continue to be the basis for artistic creation. Some lesser-known characters played a significant role in the conflict for the cosmos, despite the fact that most people are familiar with iconic figures like Zeus and Cronus. Let us consider the Hecatoncheires as an illustration. There are three enormous giants that collectively make up the Hecatoncheires. They were giants in the ancient Greece that were feared by both humans and gods due to their enormous size and brute strength. They were so frightening that their father eventually had to lock them up out of fear. After being set free, the giants took part in the TITANOMACY, which resulted in the demise of the Titans and the ascent of the Olympians. Origins of the Hecatoncheires. The story of the Hecatoncheires has been told in a number of different ways. The Greek myth from Theogony by Hesiod that is most frequently told today. According to this interpretation, Uranus and Gaia are the parents of the Hecatoncheires. The god of the sky, and other times written as Uranus, is known as Uranus. The goddess of the earth was known as Gaia or Gaia. Gaia and Uranus were both primordial deities, making them some of the first creatures to come into existence. The Hecatoncheires, who were just 3 of the many children the couple had, were also the last 3 offspring to be born to Uranus and Gaia, according to Hesiod. But according to the mythographer Apollodorus, they were the first 3 children. Whatever the case, the 3 giants had a large family of well-known siblings. They were all related to the 12 Titans and had 3 Cyclops brothers. According to legend, Uranus imprisoned the Hecatoncheires and their numerous siblings. While some accounts says they were escorted to Tartarus, a desolate location in Hades. Others remember them as having lived in Gaia's deepest wells. According to some accounts, Uranus even forced the Hecatoncheires back into Gaia's belly. Many academics interpret the 2 subsequent editions as a portrayal of earthquakes and other natural forces that operate below the surface. According to legend, Uranus imprisoned the giants out of pure hatred. He had hatred for all of his children in addition to believing the Hecatoncheires were horrible-looking and unfit to live with the other gods. 18 children were ultimately born to Uranus and Gaia. All of them spent many years in prison. Codus, the eldest brother, adopted a typical Thracian name. His name may have been derived from the Thracian goddess Codis, according to some academics. His name means the striker in English. Gyges was probably influenced by the legend of Ogyges, the king of Attica. This brother's name is written as Gaius in some texts. Briareus comes in last. One of the more intricate giants is called Briareus, also written as Aubriarius or Briareos. Briareus was singled out in Theogony as the trio's good giant. Even Poseidon, the god of the sea, gave him a reward. According to legend, Briareus was given Cymopolia, the sea nymph, as Poseidon's daughter, to marry. Additionally, Homer's Iliad poem features Briareus. Homer claims that the giant was known as Briareus or Aegean in this story. The gods and goddesses called him Briareus. However, the giant was known as Aegean to humans. He was asked by Thetis to put down a rebellion against Zeus in the Iliad. Aegean was the revised spelling for the TITANOMACY epic. The association with Poseidon and the sea led to a distinctive appearance in Ovid's Metamorphoses. Briareus is only regarded to as Aegean in Ovid's story. He is also referred to as a sea god who gave the Aegean Sea its name, the Hecatoncheires story. The story of the Hecatoncheires is one of shifting power relations. Given that it deals with the progression of gods through time, it is one of the greatest tales in Greek mythology. Theogony by Hesiod is where we find the most popular version of this tale. Hesiod described the horror Uranus witnessed at their birth in great detail. They were impossible to approach due to the 100 arms had sprung from their shoulders and their enormous strength. Uranus imprisoned all 18 of his children, so Gaia devised a scheme. She forced Cronus, her last child, to castrate Uranus. He was successful, and eventually Uranus vanished from Greek mythology. After Cronus took control, the 12 Titans were freed from their captivity and allowed to rule the universe. Cronus did not, however, let the Hecatoncheires go. Together with their 3 Cyclops brothers, he locked them up in a cell. The Titans ignored them as they continued to lead, leaving them behind. Later, Cronus wed Archie, his sister. 6 kids were born to the two. Cronus swallowed the first 5 out of fear of being overthrown like his father. Rhea saved the 5th child covertly. He was kept secret by Rhea so that Gaia could raise him. Zeus, the first of the Olympians, was that child. When Zeus was old enough, he challenged Cronus and made him throw up the kids he had swallowed. The TITANOMACY, a 10-year battle between the Titans and the Olympians, was started as a result of this incident. Throughout this destructive war, the Hecatoncheires reappear in the narrative. They were imprisoned for all of this time, feeling hopeless and backstabbed by their brother Cronus for failing to free them. Gaia predicted that Zeus would prevail and be helped by the Hecatoncheires and the Cyclops. Zeus went to free the giant with the long legs, bringing them out of the darkness and into the light. The head of the Olympian gods provided nectar and ambrosia as he worked to rebuild their strength. The Hecatoncheires immediately complied with his request for their help after he made it. With large boulders in each of their 100 hands, the Hecatoncheires took their positions. Zeus unleashed a hail of thunderbolts on Mount Othrys and the Titans as he departed Olympus. Then the Hecatoncheires began tossing boulders at the Titans. As punishment for their fall, the Titans were thrown into Tartarus for all time. There are various versions of what happened to the Hecatoncheires after the Great War. Most people claim that the giants went back to Tartarus and settled close to the entrances to keep an eye on the Titans and make sure they never escaped. On the foundations of the oceans, according to other accounts, Codus and Gyges retired to mansions. Meanwhile, as a result of his union with Cymopolea, Briareus was made Poseidon's son-in-law. Facts about Hecatoncheires. Codus, Briareus, and Gyges were the 3 giants that made up the Hecatoncheires. These 3 enormous beings are also known as Hecatoncheires and Hecatoncheires. The Hecatoncheires are often referred to as the 100-handers or 100-handed ones. Centimanes is how their name is spelled in Latin. They are made up of 50 heads and 100 arms. There were 18 children born to Uranus and Gaia, but only 3 of them were the Hecatoncheires. The original 12 Titans and 3 Cyclops are siblings of the Hecatoncheires. The Hecatoncheires were important figures in the succession myth that eventually led to the ascendancy of the Greek pantheon. The giants were appointed as the Titans' Tartarus guardians. The Hecatoncheires are mentioned in writings by Virgil, Ion of Chios, Ovid, Apollodorus, and other authors. The 12 Titans, the remainder of Uranus and Gaia's children, and the Hecatoncheires were all imprisoned together, as was previously mentioned. They were being protected by Camp, a huge dragon there. Thank you for your support.